Hello and welcome back to the AL Central Rundown. Sam's out today, but with me today is...
I'm Lee.
I'm Dan.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Oren.
Oh, your voice is very out of sync there. That was... I didn't know if you were ventriloquist. It's welcome back, everyone. Pretty just a blah week. Like, we're kind of in that, I don't know, awkward area between... It's not early. The All-Star game ballot came out today, so we're just kind of in that middle 60 to see how good we are. But the standings, as they are now, still Detroit, still up by 6. Same story as the last, I don't know, eternity, it feels like. They've still gone 7-3 in their last 10. They still had the best run differential. The Twins and the Guardians have been trading second place. Twins have been pretty good the last couple of games. Well, that's not true. They've had 3 games they were very good and then garbage. Cleveland's played. Twins have played 500 since then. Cleveland's played 500. Kansas City still above 500, but looks like they're kind of slipping. And the White Sox are 3-7. But
They
I
got
would
swept
argue,
by Baltimore, so we know for sure that they are the worst team in the American League. There's a bit of a question mark there.
well,
I think.
if you believed that Baltimore was as bad as they had been the first 2 months, yes. But like, I don't know. I still kind of feel like Baltimore is going to be closer to 500 than anything by the end of the year. But what do I know? But they did look really bad. But anyway, oh, sorry. And then as far as like run differential, I combined these both because I was lazy. But for batting average, still Detroit. The Twins have scored like 30 runs in 3 games, so they actually went above a league average in run scoring. Cleveland, White Sox, and then Kansas City, their offense is dire. I've watched a couple games this week. It has not been pretty. I'm angry for Sam. It's probably why he's not on today. Pitching, the exact opposite. The Royals, Tigers, Twins, still pretty good. Guardians kind of climbing up near a league average ERA, and then the White Sox still by no means a complete disaster with their hitting.
Dude, what are the Athletics doing? What is their
For
pitching?
for their pitching or for their hitting?
Their pitching. Look at their pitching.
That's got to be the ballpark too.
Yes,
right?
the ball. So the
It's
Twins.
gotta be.
The Twins are playing them right now. That ballpark is an absolute joke. The warning track is about, I don't know, a mile wide.
Oh my god.
Players can't judge it, and the ball is just flying out of there. It's an absolute. The Twins have played 2 games. They scored 10 runs apiece.
Oh jeez. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing them because I want to see those. You guys played the Rays and the A's both on the road, right? That was
Yeah, it's been weird. And it was like 95 in Tampa,
Ew.
and like 95 in Florida is maybe the worst 95 you could imagine.
And it's not even like peak heat summer yet.
Right.
It's 75 and humid here, and I'm like sweating. I can't imagine.
They originally swapped this series because this series was supposed to be in Minnesota, but because Tropicana doesn't have a roof anymore, they moved it to Florida because this game was supposed to be played in July, and I think the Twins would have died. An actual death may have happened. So I think the Rays did that with a lot of schedules, though. I think they have very few games in August and September, July and August at home.
Yeah, they started off with a bunch of home games, I
Yes.
know. Which, makes sense.
Yeah, it is weird going from minor league ballpark, Safeco, or not Safeco, the Seattle, and then another minor league ballpark. But also, you know what's really funny is like Pablo Lopez, he got injured. We'll talk about that in a second. But then he got injured. The clubhouse is not behind the dugout; it's in the outfield. So Lopez had to get pulled from the game, and then they had to walk him across the outfield to like get to the clubhouse. But funnier than that, like a week ago, the Oakland's manager got tossed, and he had to walk angrily out towards the outfield fence. Like it was
That's
great.
funny.
What an absolute joke Oakland or the former Oakland A's are. But we should probably get started on the news. It's never happy. Lee, who's injured for the Detroit?
Yeah, I have a laundry list. So I'm starting off with all the bad stuff, and then I can talk about the good stuff. So last week, I made an offhand comment about how I was looking on Twitter for news about Jackson Jobe. We got that news about Jackson Jobe. He's going to the 15-day IL with a grade 1 right elbow flexor strain. So that's elbow injury on a 22-year-old rookie pitcher. Not good.
Nope.
Yeah. So they've had him doing like a little bit of like throwing and all that kind of stuff. He's if we're going by just this injury, he's probably gone until the All-Star break, probably after the All-Star break because he's 22 and so they're probably going to be more cautious with them. So that's not good. That's something that could turn into needing Tommy John or needing some other kind of surgery. So we'll see about that. For the respective move, we pulled up Dylan Smith, but then he was pulled back down. Dylan Smith's pretty cool. He started in Double A, and he's been absolutely torturing at Double A, and he spent like 2 innings in Triple A before they called him up. So that's fun.
Is,
Alex Cobb, go ahead.
is Detroit's pitching? I mean, maybe I haven't been paying attention enough. Is Detroit's starting pitching help that bad? Like they have to pull someone who's basically in Double A already. That
Well,
seems early to do that.
he was doing really well in Double A, so it's not
Sure.
too early. We have a kind of a gap in terms of like talent in AAA right now. Most of our talent is in AA or Single A, so the starting pitching gap is a bit of it. But we also have a lot of injuries to our starting pitchers right now. Like Reese Olson's still out.
Hmm.
We've got Alex Lang is still out. Foley is out. Like we got a lot of guys who would normally come up who are injured. So we have a lot of bullpen depth, but starting pitching depth is a bit of a
Sure.
yeah. Yeah, so Alex Cobb talking on starting pitching. He was moved to the 60-day IL just for roster spot, but that's basically just technicality because he's eligible to come off today. He did a rehab start and performance-wise it went well, but like he didn't feel good after it, so that's fantastic. Yeah, so not really sure what's going on there. Reese Olson, he was throwing a bullpen, but he wasn't throwing his changeup, which is, I mean, you need to be able to throw all of your pitches. He received another injection in his finger, which sounds awful in
Yeah, it
terms of
does.
like getting an injection in your finger. Ouch. But I haven't gotten any more news on that because I was working. He had the fourth finger inflammation or whatever. But yeah, he hasn't been throwing his changeup because that's the finger he needs to throw his changeup. So that's kind of not great. Carpenter was scratched from the lineup today with right hamstring soreness. But apparently he is available to pinch hit. So hopefully it's just my leg hurts and not I think I tore something injury, you know. In terms getting off the injury news, Cole Keith has been taking some defensive reps at third, which is interesting because if I've talked about this before in terms of how our lineup is Torres at second, Torque at first, and Keith was supposed to move to first, but Torkelson's been doing so well that he's been getting all the reps at first. So if Keith can play third, that would be really helpful because he's been doing a lot of DH, but it means we can keep Keith, Torres, and Torque in the lineup all at the same time.
Sure.
So
He was a shortstop coming up, right? Or what was he?
He came up initially at third, but he had to get shoulder injury. He had a shoulder injury and had to get surgery, and so he moved to second. But he says that after 3 years, he's been doing a bunch of workouts on his shoulder and stuff. He feels he can move back to third and make all those throws. So yeah, it's just an interesting move, and that would help our third base problem because we don't have a solid third baseman in terms of like playing every day. And Keith's bat has been picking up a lot lately. So again, I mean, if we can have Torres, Torque, and Keith all on the field at the same time, that's really good for us. And then better news: Sawyer Gibson Long is making his first start today. He has not pitched in the majors since end of 23, where he came up, made 4 starts, and then got injured, had to get Tommy John. So he's been looking really good in AAA, and I'm really excited about him because he looked really good when he debuted initially in 23. So I'm not sure how long he's going to be pitching today. I don't know if he's coming up in serving the bullpen to be part of the bullpen chaos, or if he's coming up as a starting pitcher. So I guess we'll kind of see what he does today. But more important news, Parker Meadows is back. I am so excited. No, you have no idea how excited I am. He's such a game changer for us. I mean, his Savant page isn't necessarily pretty He didn't play a whole lot last year. He played 60. He played like half his games. He's fantastic as an outfielder. His sprint speed, his fielding is all in the 90s. And I've included one picture of his home run robbery in Seattle because it's amazing. He did that like once a week, it feels, because he is that good. He's 6'5" and incredibly fast. But so his batting stats don't look anything spectacular, but I wanted to put a little bit of clarification on that. So starting off last year, he was horrendous. Like he got sent down in the beginning of May, but before that, he had a batting average under 100. He was slugging his 219, OPS of 443. That is not good. That is awful. But then he was sent down to Toledo, came up briefly in July, and then got injured again. He was injured for a little while, but then he came back at the beginning of August 3rd to be exact, which is the day that Jim Leland's number was retired, and we walked off the Royals to win in a comeback win, which is a great. He came back on that day, and since then he has been 296 batting average, slugging 500 with an OPS of 840. So, and he is so good, but like defensively, he's Gold Glove caliber. I don't know if he will be a finalist this year because he missed the first 2 months, right? But he is that good, and he made an immediate impact just 2 days ago when he came up to start against the White Sox. So he's the leadoff guy. We had Carpenter in leadoff. Carpenter was able to move down to third. The first game he comes back, he takes the leadoff spot from Carp, who hits 3 home runs, has a triple, a double, 2 walks, a stolen base, and a run-saving catch, like immediately. So he is everyone on the team says that he is a spark plug. Everyone is so happy to have him back. Like he cannot be understated how big of an impact he is. Like when the season was starting, because we had him out, we had Fearling out, we had Perez out, I would have been happy to start like 5 games over 500 going into June, because I thought there's no way we were going to be that good, because Meadows is he's one of our better hitters, right? And we had a rough schedule to start off, but because we are only getting better because he is back. I've said a lot of words about how good he is, but I'm very excited to have him back. And then we sent down Justin Henry Malloy to make space for the roster. That's the last bit of that. But Parker Meadows is back, and I am very happy.
I did like how you said your disappointment of the team. Like, I would sacrifice wins and be 5 games over 500. That's exactly what the Twins and the Guardians are at right now. So your disappointment is all right.
Like I would have been thrilled to have been at that level, because going into this, because I thought we were going just based on what I thought the team was going to be. Because
we feel your judgment. Don't you lie to us.
No, I'm just saying we started off with a rough schedule. We started off with a bunch of guys injured, and I thought, well, Meadows is out, Fearling is out.
Right.
It's going to be really rough to start. And the fact that we've been so good and we're getting Meadows back is a huge.
Right.
It cannot be understated. That was a long rant. Sorry.
Just happy to be here, Eric. Just happy to be here.
Yeah. I know. I was going to say, we're
question. I do have a question. So presumably Meadows is going to play center, correct?
Yeah.
And Colt Keith is going to play third, presumably?
So I don't know if he's going to be starting at third.
Where does Baez play?
So Baez looks like he's going to be playing short and third again. He might. We don't know. I don't know how much Meadows is going to be playing in center all the time to start off. They might be easing him back again, so Javi might play a little bit of center. Yeah. Javi's kind of a utility guy now. I don't think Keith is going to be starting at third, particularly anytime soon, but he's just been working on the defensive reps. Yeah, to be an option to defensive sub in or pinch hit and stuff, that kind of thing.
Who's the DH?
You'll get some more at bats if you play third a little bit. You want to try that kind of thing. I get it.
Yeah. So our DH, technically it's Colt Keith. That's our DH option for the All-Star ballot.
I mean,
which is kind of funny, but we don't have like a DH guy, a guy who was always playing DH. Mm-hmm. Like if you'd ask me, I would say Carpenter, but I guess he's been doing more at like right or left. So it's just kind of funny. I guess Colt Keith is DH.
If they would move Carpenter to DH. And that would be a real fun defensive alignment with Green, Meadows, and then Baez and right.
Yeah, or Perez in out the outfield too is really good.
Oh, sure.
I don't know if Baez would move to the corners at all because I don't know. I don't know
If he
how
can
that
play
would.
center, he can play the
Yeah, I
corners.
feel like he could, right? But like
He
it's
does
a
have the
whole.
arm for it.
Is Sweeney still on the team?
Yeah, he's still on the team. Kind of to talk is amongst the fandom is that he's like one of the next. He'll be like the odd man out when Sverling comes back because he's not really hitting that well. If we have Baez playing above average at short, then he's just gonna, he's just gonna be the odd guy out because Sweeney doesn't really play any other position and he's not hitting very well. So that was
Nice.
sorry I talked a lot about that, but I
Oh.
am so excited for Meadows to be back.
No,
I
it's,
mean,
it's really exciting. He's definitely one of the future stalwarts of the Central. So we better get used to it.
Yeah.
His one deficiency is hitting left-handers, right? So what's the plan for when lefties start?
For Meadows, so his lefty righty split is actually not that big of a difference. I think I looked at it earlier. Let me find
But
it.
when you look at it, how many plate appearances does he have against lefties, though?
Yeah, I'm trying to find that. I was right here, Meadows. Let's see, in 2024 batting. I always forget where to find the lefty righty splits, but I think I looked at it and
Sure,
it wasn't that big of a difference.
If he does sit against lefties, does that just mean Baez slots in at center, or okay?
That would just mean Baez slots in at center. Okay, so here it is. So last season he only got 62 plate appearances against lefties, but he hit 263 off of them, which is better against righty, which is better than his stats against righties.
Oh,
but that's also you got to keep in mind. I was
thinking of someone else actually.
You're probably thinking of Carpenter because Carpenter's.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about it. That's what we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, but looking at Parker, he didn't get that many reps against lefties in terms of plate appearances, but it's also this is not that many it's not as many lefties as there is righties. So it's kind of he doesn't have that big a sample size.
I've gotten I know I've made my stance on platooning, and you should always platoon. But when you have that good of a center fielder, you can take some bad offense for some stellar defense. Like that's a fair trade-off. You should platoon as much as your roster allows you to. But if he takes good at bats, I don't know if he's a guy who chases a lot, but if he just plays great defense, I don't care if he goes 0 for 4, if he robs a home run. What's the difference?
Exactly. His defense is that good. Like I've said before, if he bats for average, he's a star because he's so good in center. Yeah. So and he bats above average. So I'm really excited. We're playing the Cubs this weekend. Him and Pete Crow Armstrong both in center. Yeah. It's going to be a very fun series.
Is that in Detroit or Chicago?
It's in Detroit.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Crow Armstrong, did anyone see that diving catch? Not diving attempt. There was zero risk because the right fielder was 5 feet behind him, but Pete Crow Armstrong made a dive attempt and he was at least 3 feet away from the ball.
Oh, I love when that happens.
That's funny.
Was it worse than Jorge Soler's dive earlier this week? Do you remember seeing that?
It was farther away than Jorge Soler. He had it was one of those. That was real bad by Soler. He just gifted Nolan Jones a one and a big.
I think I saw that one. That was funny.
Oh, it was bad. The right fielder completely on an island. Yeah, shouldn't be too surprising. But speaking of the Guardians, I don't think I have that many injuries. You can talk about good things.
Well, we're going to start with the bad stuff and get it out the way. Last week when we were together, talked about Lane Thomas and how he was about to potentially get back on the IL, and that did end up happening. I think it was last Wednesday when we were together. They actually played a man down because Thomas was on the roster but was not capable of playing. And there was a little bit of background context for why that was the case. The Guardians have an abundance of players on the 60-day IL right now. Bieber, Trevor Stephan, David Fry was on it. There's a couple I'm sure I'm forgetting. I think Eric Sabrowski, who I'll talk about in a second, is maybe one of them. But those guys aren't on the 40-man. So what in the eventuality, those guys are ready to go. they're going to get on at some point. And so there's a bit of a roster crunch right there where you're going to have to potentially open up 3, 4, 5 spaces on the 40-man roster to get all these guys activated. Well, I think that's why they delayed what they were doing with Thomas, is to kind of figure out what their options were. And it turns out their option was to activate David Fry off of that 60-day IL and onto the active roster. In doing so, they DFA'd Cody Burton, who had not pitched an inning for the Cards this year. So Thomas to the IL, David Fry was activated. I talked about Fry last week. He is going to be limited this year. He had Tommy John surgery over the course of the winter. And so he is, at the moment, exclusively a DH and a pinch hitter. He is a very good hitter against left-handed pitching, though, so there is going to be use there. I've kind of wondered with Santana, with Manzardo, those are kind of the guys you would potentially replace. How that's all going to work. I think he's going to end up taking some at-bats for Manzardo against lefties. And potentially Santana, too, which is odd because Santana's better against left-handed pitching. But he's going to find at-bats that way, and he's going to find at-bats late in games off the bench, which is something he's quite skilled at in and of itself. So he is going to be a contributor. It won't be maybe as much as we'd hope, but he's active and on the roster now. He started last night when Carlos Rodon pitched for the Yankees.
Are they going to keep him as a DH the entire year? Or are they hoping by like September he can play a little bit?
I don't know if they've said anything publicly. My personal hope is that by the end of the year he could play first. I don't see him, because he was very much a super utility guy, third, first, left field, right field catcher. I don't think he's going to play.
Real word for utility.
Yeah, well, he's an interesting story. I think he was a shortstop in college and got the opportunity to catch for. I don't remember the details of the story now, but he wasn't always historically a catcher, but he became a catcher. He is an incredibly valuable piece just because of that versatility, including catching, and the fact that he's a pretty good hitter. So I'm a little disappointed that we lose a lot of that versatility this year, but his health is kind of more important in that regard. And, if he's 100% in 2026, I think that's a win. But to answer the question in a long way, I think at most he plays first this year. I wouldn't expect him to play any of the other positions on the field until next year. One other piece of injury news, I believe it was Friday night, Andrew Walters, relief pitcher. I've spoken about him a little bit as well. Good young prospect of a relief pitcher for the Guardians. In the course of 2 pitches, he gave up a home run to the aforementioned Jose Soler. And then on the next pitch, he ended up bent over, clutching his right side and under armpit, basically.
Oh, sure.
He suffered a right lat strain and is now on the 15-day IL. Nick Enright was recalled in a corresponding move. We'll see when we see Walters again. I anticipate that being a little bit more of a lengthy injury, just where it is on the body. But he is not going to be available for the time being. It is a knock to the Guardians' bullpen depth, which hasn't been as strong as it was last year. That is the first 4 guys in that pen are still locked down. After that, we're kind of searching a little bit for some solutions. So Enright's been decent so far in his time in the majors. We'll see how that goes. Much more positive news, although still injury related. Shane Bieber, talked about him last week. He made his start in the Complex League, pitched 5 innings, 1 hit, 5 Ks. That was his first. So 5 innings in his first rehab start. They are trying to ramp him up. They want him ready within 30 days to be pitching in the big leagues. He is scheduled to pitch in Double-A Akron this week. I've heard Thursday and Friday. I'm not sure which one it's going to be, but so late this week, he is anticipated to make another appearance. And like I said, the goal is to get him up to the bigs in 30 days. So hopefully for the starting rotation, which is, reinforcements are on the way. And a very similar trajectory with Eric Sabrowski, who is a left-handed reliever that played a role at the end of the season last year. He also threw in the Complex League last week. He's going to be in Akron this week. And because he's a reliever, I would maybe anticipate seeing him even sooner. Doesn't need to ramp up the same way, but he's on the mend as well. Lastly, going to actually talk about some of the actual production on the field this real quick because there's a couple guys I wanted to highlight. This felt like a good opportunity to do it. Carlos Santana. So Santana, early in the year, I even did it as part of, I think it was when we were talking about transactions from the offseason. Santana was not off to a good start. And I was personally concerned about how hard he was hitting the ball or not hitting, how not hard he was hitting it, rather. He's turned it around. The last 21 days, his slash line, 391, 500. He's getting on base every other time. Slugging 630. He's got 3 home runs. His walk rate's back up to 18%. His WRC plus is 225. That was the second best WRC plus in baseball over that 21-day span, minimum 40 plate appearances. So he's red hot right now, and it's vintage Carlos Santana. He's seeing a lot of pitches. He's walking, and he's starting to sting the ball a lot better than he was early in the season. And I think those things go hand in hand. When pitchers have to respect him and his ability to drive the ball, it increases his walk rate.
He only played a year for the Twins, but is he the type of player? I don't feel like he's streaky. He's more like an avalanche. He starts off slow, and he just builds the entire year.
He's a notorious slow starter. So,
right. But is he streaky, or is that just his 1 year with the Twins? Because once he was good the rest of the year.
I think it's that. It's not so much that he's hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. He's cold, hot, short. It's once he's up and running, he's fine. I think he's just a slow starter. So there was always the concern that at 39, would the cold streak end this year? Is Father Time going to come calling? It appears that he's kicking Father Time in the teeth at this point in time. So we'll see if that continues. And then lastly, I wanted to talk about one other guy that kind of had a squirrely start to the year, Emmanuel Clase. I didn't pull the beginning of the year stats, but I did just want to do this one juxtaposition. I took 21-day spans, 416 through 56. So first couple, weeks into the season, into the start of May, 491 ERA. And in the last 21 days, 135 ERA. 3 runs better, 3.5 runs better. And the big kind of truth teller here is in that first time span, his BABIP was 409. And in the more recent time span, it was 188. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. His career BABIP is 258. So a little bit higher than he's currently presenting as, but still, much closer to where he normally is. And I'll just say his FIP continuously throughout the year has been in the high ones. So I think there was at least some batted ball luck going against him early in the year. There were some things he was not executing as far as pitching inside to righties. But he's looked a lot better. The other item there was he actually got sat for 3 days just to rest, and he's pitched significantly better from that time period on as well. So 2 key guys. I mean, Clase is an obvious one. They need him in order to be successful, but Santana trying to fill a hole where Josh Naylor used to play, that's turning around as well. So lastly, I'll just mention that, we all mentioned the Yankees as a team we don't like when we did our rivalry week. And it's a beautiful day to be beating the Yankees. The Guardians are up 3-0, nice. Getting into the later innings of the ball game. So I'm in a good mood, and that's the best news I can deliver of all of it.
They're beating the Yankees. Can't hate it.
3-0.
Are they in Cleveland or are they in New York?
They're in the Bronx.
Yeah. How did last night end up? Was there a wall scraper home run or something?
It was not good. There was a couple things there, as a matter of fact. Tanner Bybee took a no-hitter into the 5th, and a very controversial ball call extended in that bat against Jazz Chisholm. He ended up getting a base on a base hit, breaking up the no-hitter, and then scoring later in that inning. If the umpire's prescription was a little bit better, Bybee may have taken a no-hitter deeper into the ballgame, and who knows how that ends. On top of that, Chisholm came up later and hit a ball 2 feet beyond the right field wall at Yankee Stadium. I'd be curious to know how many ballparks that thing was a home run in. I'm guessing it's not many. So it's a game of inches, as they say. And the Guards fought the tying run to second base in the ninth, but the inches weren't in their favor. So thanks for bringing that up.
It's not as bad as the walk-off home run against, or I don't know who it was against, the Red Sox had today.
It was against the Angels. Yeah, it was
309 feet.
Yeah.
309? Funny.
Yes.
Like right at pesky pole.
Yeah, it was right at the pole. It was, I think that's one of the shortest walk-off home runs like ever.
I am secretly loving the Red Sox are an absolute dumpster fire right now.
Oh, I'm not secretly.
They're pitching like their third base coach was like getting in a quarrel pregame today. Like, love it. Like,
not to take too much credit, but it all kind of started when they cursed themselves with that White Sox series.
Yeah. I'm not secretly loving it. I'm openly loving it. I hate the Red Sox. This is fantastic. Just it's been great. I love it.
It's fun.
Just because you won the off season doesn't mean you win the regular season.
Right.
Everyone was like, "Oh, they're World Series favorites." No, they don't know how to field the ball, and they have a dumpster fire of an infield management system. It's fantastic.
So I'll move on to the Twins. I don't have a lot of injury news, which is weird, considering everyone else does. The big one is yesterday Pablo Lopez left to start, left it early. Sounds like it might be a lat strain. No idea. He could be out a couple weeks. Don't know the grade yet, so he could be out the rest of the year. We'll find out. They're probably calling up David Festa. I'm more optimistic it's more of a weeks thing than an all-season thing. Just because he caught it like the inning before, he threw 3 warm-up pitches, called out the trainer, so he didn't like try to gut through it, which is really nice because that could have been really bad if he would have done it, if he would have done that. But we'll see. They're going to have a diagnosis in the next couple days, have a better idea next week with what he's doing. It'll be fun to see David Festa. The downside is the Twins' starting pitching depth is now used up. They demoted Simeon Wood-Richardson a couple weeks ago. They called up Zebby Matthews, who's been real hot and cold. He's either looked like a Cy Young, and the next inning he looks like he should be in AAA again. We'll see, but there is upside to bringing up a Festa and then like a Zebby Matthews. Like they can be a number 3, number 2 starter, like if they reach their potential. Will that happen this year? That'd be great, but that's an awful lot to ask for a couple rookies. So we'll see. The Twins have played some very close, anxiety-driven ball games, both in Tampa and then in Seattle. They went to extras every game.
Oh, technically, the third one didn't go to extras. It was bottom of the 9th.
Oh, that's true. It was just a walk-off in the 9th. It was a lot of one-run games. Carlos Correa got ejected from the on-deck circle for his first ejection in his career, which I think would shock a lot of people.
That is shocking.
And then there's also there's a real gnarly photo of Rocco Baldelli, who's also fairly mellow on the field, but there's a Rocco holding Correa back. Correa's over his shoulder, and they're both dead yelling at the umpire. The umpire of that game, it's Austin Jones. I'm going to show his umpire scorecard. His scorecard wasn't that bad, but his strike zone was, I felt, brutal all game. This looks like he favored the Twins, which is fine, but his low calls were really bad for both sides.
Yeah, those are rough.
And there's even, if you look, this ball here was called a ball. And I'm pretty sure that was against the Twins. There was nothing in the zone, but this was called a strike. So it was almost like a funnel the entire game. And Correa said something to Brooksley was at bat. Correa said something from the on-deck sucker, the strike zone can't be that low or something like that. And the umpire tossed him. Both teams were chirping at him. I think that was just Correa just happened to be the guy that said the wrong thing at the wrong time, got tossed, which sucks because they lost 5-4 in that game. But
I'm a big fan of the strike that's further outside that got called a strike than the ball is inside and then got called a ball.
It was all over the place. And that
Same
was the
here.
frustrating part. The zone at the top of the zone at the top was a triangle. And at the bottom, you had a very deep, wide. It was just very frustrating to watch as a viewer. So I'm kind of surprised that he actually had a decent. He was consistent in that he was just bad the whole game. Umpire scorecard doesn't necessarily agree with me, and that's fine. But yeah, just interesting. They lost 2 out of 3, but they were very competitive. They're playing in Oakland in the launching pad that is West Sacramento, and they've scored 10 runs. So it's been fun to watch, but I don't think there's much to really analyze there. But what we can analyze is, there's two kind of worrying Twins I kind of want to talk about. One I've kind of already talked about, and it makes me very sad because Royce Lewis has been real bad for up to 60 games. So I'm not much of a vibes guy, but Royce Lewis is a very optimistic, upbeat person. And you can kind of tell he is his slash line, his last 200 plate appearances is 166, 218, 239. It has been brutal. He is lost. The 2 ACL tears have made him a 9th percentile runner. This is a guy in AAA that they used to say could keep up with Buxton. And
That's a hell of a down.
3 years later, he's 9th percentile sprint speed. Now they're telling him to not run. Like I get because like you can any ground ball he hits, it is now just a simple jog to first. I think what he's trying to do is he has to figure out what type of hitter, what type of player he is now, not what he was when he was in the minors. And he is struggling so hard right now that he needs to be called down to AAA. He cannot continue to just completely fail in the majors because you can tell it is wearing on him, and like he looks depressed just in the batter's box as if he's already out. They don't really have anyone to call up to replace him, but I don't. It's so sad to watch what he was before versus what he is now. Please call him down and let him smoke AAA for 5 weeks and bring him back up because he's completely lost in the majors right now.
Isn't he the guy that said, I don't do that slump thing?
Hey, I don't do slumps. Yeah, and then he went into a tremendous slump. He's had 2 0 for 30 streaks this year.
Oh, this already?
Yeah.
That's brutal.
And I get the lack of speed makes sense, but slugging 239, he's not driving the ball, and that has nothing to do with how fast he's hoofing it out of the box. That's
No.
I don't know how you explain that.
It's a lot of pop-ups is what it is. Like he's had a couple he's batting 133 this year. Of course there's bad luck when you're batting 133, but his expecting batting average is 215. Like there is no I don't know. He either needs to adjust or like it's sad to watch. But I don't think he can continue to do it in the majors without causing like severe damage to his career. Because a year ago, he was looked at as it was Correa, Buxton, and Lewis. That was the big 3. And he has completely fallen off. And it's very sad to see because he just seems like a really upbeat, good dude who just looks defeated at the plate. He's batting 9th in the lineup, and he got pinch hit for a guy with a 650 OPS.
Ooh.
Who was it?
Brooks Lee.
Okay.
Who's fine. Like, he's good.
Yeah.
He's a solid player, but if you would have told me Royce Lewis was getting pinch hit for last year, I was like, you better better have brought back Jim Thome from the grave to do it, because that only makes sense to do it then.
He's alive, by the way.
I know, but his baseball career isn't. I love Jim Thome. Minnesota is actively trying to steal his entire career as if he was a Twin, and he was only there for like 2 years.
He's a big
He's
friend.
right.
He's a huge friend
Loved
of the
it.
program to the Central.
He is.
Yeah.
What a man.
Gigantic friend of the AL Central.
Yes. Except for the Tigers, because screw them.
Yes.
He only hits
Apparently.
home runs against them.
Yeah. Good times.
And I guess the Royals. I don't know how he did against them. We'll talk about that later, though. Another worry spot, and I'll make this kind of brief because I just talked about Royce for a bit. Bailey Ober. I mean, his Savant page it's fine. It's middling. He has a couple the things he does well. He does really well. He's getting a lot of chase. What I really want to point out to people's attention is he's lost velocity on his fastball, and he didn't have a lot of fastball before. So he's lost. He threw 91 last year. He's now at 90.5. There's a lot of games he's not cracking 90 miles an hour. It's 88, 89. Not great. I don't know if it's just him. He's only 29, but he was one of those reclamation projects where he was throwing like 86 in college. They got him to throw 92 a couple years ago, and maybe just the shelf life of that. He's a tall dude. Mechanics are always an issue with tall dudes, but I did want to just point out. It's going to be hard to read, but just his comparison, his whiff rate between his pitches has been really rough this year. So his whiff rate on his changeup last year was near 40%. That has dropped 10%. His curveball is actually getting more swings and misses, but he throws it 5% of the time. So that doesn't really matter. His fastball.
Nobody have him throw his curveball. Jesus, look at those stats.
Well, he only throws it 5% of the time, so it's small
Okay.
sample size and it gets hammered. So, but yes, the point is taken. What's my other thing I'd written down? His K rate is down to 18.6 when his career average is 24. His whiff rate is down on every pitch, and his hard hit rate is now below league average. So he's getting hit harder than ever than most pitchers in the league. He's getting results, but there are some real signs that he's in trouble. If you're going to throw less than 90. Now, he is a pitcher because he's had to have been. When in college, he was throwing 86, 87. He had to learn to pitch then, but it's not great that he has to figure out how to basically relearn. So he could be injured. His mechanics could be off, but he has to figure some things out because those results are not going to carry for much longer, I don't think.
The one other thing I'd say in his favor is being such a tall dude, the extension that's involved there.
Yes.
You could get away with 90 a little bit more because the distance to the plate is shorter.
Yes.
But I'll also say they said that about Tristan McKenzie too. So
right. And what I will say, they'll always say that about Ober. Is his perceived velocity, I think, is like 93, 94. Yeah. But that's when he was throwing 91. If he's not cracking 90, now that's a very hittable fastball, regardless of if your perceived velocity is 3 miles an hour above that, But I don't know. I hope he figures it out. Seems like a real smart dude. Just hope he figures it out. So I have one good thing, and then I'll shut up because I feel like I've talked for a bit. But Joe Ryan is having a sneaky, really good year. He's mixing a sweeper. He's always been he's kind of been that middle ground between Pablo Lopez and Bailey Ober. Like, if I was going to pick a pitcher who was going to shut down a team for 6 innings with a shutout, it's Pablo all day. I'm going to pick him. If there was a team, if I knew the Twins were going to score 4 runs, I'm going to throw out Bailey Ober. If I didn't know and I needed to win the game, I would throw out Joe Ryan because he can shut down a team, but also he's an extreme fly ball pitcher, and he can get hammered like he did against the Astros are a rough matchup for him. He got blown out, and he has a couple blow-ups every year. He is a fastball splitter pitcher, but he's added in a sweeper this year, which is really helping him out against right-handed batters. He's just been a lot more consistent than he ever has been, which is really nice to see considering he was traded for half a year of Nelson Cruz. That has been one of the best trades the Twins have pulled off in the last 10 years. Like, he has been so good. One other little gift he had, this has nothing to do with baseball, but Oren, you might have actually seen this, but Joe Ryan gave us this gift a couple years ago. Carlos Correa just hit a home run, and he's kind of a weird dude. He's in the background there, and he just needed just a little, a little refreshing. I love how nonchalant this is. Just just talking to him. Here we are. Just there we go. Gotta
I
take care of
haven't seen that before. That's great.
But the lack of reaction, you could tell he's done that every game.
to say nobody cared. It was just Joe being Joe. But that
Also,
was,
I could just be that angle, but it looked like he was commando in his baseball pants because he wasn't playing that day.
I would not be surprised.
No, not at all.
He's the type that he rides a bicycle to the stadium. It's cute. He has a little dog. He named it Jack.
Aw.
Jack Ryan. Like
Yeah.
the banana. So, yeah. So I like Joe Ryan. Thought I would shout him out, but that's all I had. Sam's not here, so we'd love to talk about Jack Caglione, but other than he's a well-regarded prospect and he hits the ball real far, I don't have anything. Does anyone have thoughts on Jack Caglione?
I have kind of. We could talk about the Kansas City Detroit series. I think I know why he was pulled up. It's because that series was.
Well, that can be our segue after Oren talks about the White Sox.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Okay, White Sox news. Jonathan Cannon and Lenine Sosa both got hurt. Tim Elko, power hitting minor leaguer, called back up. He's in the lineup tonight against Detroit, who the Sox are currently losing 2-0 to after the Tigers have cheated their way to an early lead.
They didn't cheat. The White Sox just don't know how to field.
They're cheating. But that's pretty much the only White Sox news. They acquired some guy, what is it? Ryan Cusick, who was on the A's a week ago. They released him. I don't even know if you know this, Lee, but the Tigers picked him up and then released him a couple days later.
Yeah, I saw he was DFA'd. I was like, I have no idea who this man
Yeah,
is.
so apparently the White Sox just picked him up. He's some pitcher with a 5-something ERA in the minors. So we're making moves.
Gotta see what sticks. But
Mm-hmm.
all right. So, well, I guess I guess we don't have much to talk about the Tigers Royals series because it's only half our Tigers White Sox series. So, Lee, go ahead and we're gonna talk about our recaps. Royals Tigers.
Yeah, I wish I could say this is a fun series. It was really only the first game that was fun.
Sure as hell wasn't to watch. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So first game, going into it, on our Discord, I said, "Oh, it's Waka and Mize. I think it was Mize for sure. There are going to be 3 runs scored all game." I was wrong, by the way. There were 3 runs scored in the first inning. So both starting pitchers got a little beat up there. Mize was not particularly great. He just left way too much over the plate, didn't move his stuff enough. I like to point out Torkelson, Dingler, and Green all had home runs, which is like every Tigers fan from 2021 dream was to have all those guys homering at the same time. Yeah, bullpen held up pretty well. Bobby Witt Jr. hit a home run because of course he did, but I guess I kind of forgot about this game. It's just so long ago, and it was overshadowed by the news fest that came after that. Yeah, Mize was okay. Brant Herter was awesome for us in the bullpen after Mize got pulled after like 5 innings or something. Yeah, lots of Royals got on base a lot, but they couldn't move any of those guys a lot. I mean, they scored 5 runs, which is a lot for them. But if you look, their expecting batting average is actually higher than the Tigers' expected batting average.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have much to say for the Royal side. Tiger side was just they hit the ball well. Bullpen held up.
Oh my God, what a terrible series.
Yes,
Yeah.
what an absolute nothing. Stop watching after the first game, everyone. You've watched all of the action.
Yeah, that 7-5 game was like, all right, maybe it'll be exciting. Was followed up by 2 1-0 games.
How was it?
First game was let's see. I mean, who was pitching for? No, this one was the one that Waka was pitching for the Royals. I think.
Would have
Yeah.
been the second game, yeah. Because he was
I forget.
perfect through.
He was, he was no hitting us through 6.1. Skubal had, so let me point this into the perspective. Skubal had 7 innings, 2 hits. No, 6 innings, 7, or whatever the fuck. No, 7 innings, 2 hits, 7 strikeouts, no walks, no runs. Waka had no runs, 1 hit. He was hitting us through 6.1. There were 6 base runners all game. It was extremely boring. The only 2 hits for the Tigers both came from Colt Keith. Royals got a couple of hits against, I want to say it was Hannafy.
Not Skubal.
Not Skubal. No, they got 2 hits against him, but they were both singles that didn't end up going anywhere.
Then the second they removed him, that's when they scored the run.
Yeah, that was really frustrating. Okay, so I can talk a little bit about this, right? So he was in for 7 innings. He was pulled after 7 with a 90 pitch count, and there's a little bit of talk of we pulled him and immediately give up a run, right? Which isn't great, and we end up losing that game. But also, contrary, we scored 0 runs. We got 2 hits all game. I mean, we got a couple walks too, but like, you're not going to win many games scoring 0 runs. So at the end of the day,
impossible. Actually, I don't think you can actually win a game with 0 runs.
The other team could be forced to forfeit if the fans get unruly.
Death by lightning strike is the only way that happens.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get anywhere when you don't hit the ball at all. So I'm not really mad about Skubal getting pulled at all. And also, one thing to mention for Skubal, I mean, you want to be cautious about your star pitcher not throwing too much. You can have a conversation about, he's only at 90 pitches and 7 innings. Remember, his previous start, he went for 94 pitches, 9 innings. Last season was the first time he went over 150 innings in a season, and he went 200 if you're including the postseason. So don't push your star pitcher when you need him for potentially the playoffs, right? That's kind of, and again, the bullpen didn't blow the game. They gave up 1 run. If we had scored anything, we could have won that game. But yeah, so I guess my summary for that game was this could have been an email, which is the same summary I'm going to give for game 3, which is it could have been an email because the only run that scored was off a wild pitch after a Zach McKinstry triple. I mean, he would have, for the record, he would have scored anyway because Riley Green singled during that at bat. So McKinstry would have scored anyway. But there's something very comedic about it's a 1-0 game and the only run scored is off a wild pitch. So Bubic had, I think he was credited with the earned run. I'm not sure. Lowered his ERA to 1.2, whatever the hell it is, while having the loss. Yeah,
He's been great. I watched that entire game. I have no memory of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Literally know nothing about that game.
It was very boring. I'm like, why did I watch this? Same thing for game 2. Why did I watch this? Yeah. Keter Montero was great. I got some traffic, but didn't allow anything to any runs to score. He only went for 5.2, so Rob Burleson got a lot more work. I don't have many more words to say. Yeah, 2-1-0 games. So the Royals looked at that and be like, yeah, let's bring up Jack Caglione. So kind of miserable series.
So we have another series you guys can kind of talk about for 2 games. I know the third one's going on right now, but talk about some Detroit.
Yeah, so do you want to go, Oren? I don't know if you have anything you want to.
Yeah, I mean, the first game was like just Detroit putting on a show. They had every sort of highlight you could have other than robbing a home run, I want to say. It was pretty impressive. I didn't really realize it was Meadows' first game back, but he looked really good. Couple hits, couple walks, triple. Carpenter, 3 home runs. That's just like everything they've been doing this season. Well, they did in that game. And then second game, I didn't have the chance to watch, but seeing the updates, it just seems like they kind of had a pitching day where they didn't really have anyone going for them through a lot of relievers, and Shane Smith, who's been really good this entire season and will likely be the White Sox All-Star representative. He was able to tame the Tigers' offense, and today, even though it's still in the first inning, I think they just pulled the pitcher, or did the Sox get out of the inning? I don't know, but it was 4-0 Tigers already, so it's looking like Game 3 might go that way, but you never know.
Let's hope.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So first inning, the inning ended for. So it's 4-0 top going to the bottom of the first. Yeah, Game 1, I was at work, so I couldn't watch really the full time, but I could listen to it. So I was in the car for this. I was driving of it, and on the radio, Dan Dickerson was saying that Carey hasn't really been hitting the ball particularly well. He just came off of a really bad month. He was only slugging like 420 or something, and then immediately hits a home run, and he goes on and hits 2 more that game. Yeah. I mean, Oren pretty much said it. It was just a highlight reel for Tigers, pretty much. 5 home runs that game. Perez and Dinkler both had 1. I do want to share my screen just for this play because this is ridiculous. I mean, talking about Parker Meadows had a good catch. Riley Green had a really good catch. That was like really fun because I don't know what the White Sox are doing with their warning track dirt because it was so cloudy. But McKinstry and Dingler had possibly the first 2-5 foul pop-up catch. So let me figure out if I could share my screen here.
Bottom middle of the screen.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
Honestly, the Green catch was even better than this one. This one's crazier, but the Green catch was like...
Yeah, that one was really
good
too.
Like really, really good.
Of course.
Dinkler went so far for that.
Yeah, he did.
And it hit off his leg first, and then he deflected off his leg into his glove.
Oh, this was the White Sox dugout. I was about to say, if you rewind that, I thought this was Detroit's dugout, and I was like, what a bunch of bad teammates. Zero reaction.
But Jack Flaherty does not care at all. He's extremely unimpressed because that's just how Flaherty is. Yeah, but I think so I took a screenshot of just McKinstry holding the ball in his glove and looking bemused, and I'm like, that's my new profile picture because it's amazing. I can try and find Riley Green's catch because that was a really good catch, but I don't think we want to do too much sharing for copyright stuff. If I can find it, because it's...
Oh, Robbie doesn't mind. He allows us to.
All right, here, I got it.
I like that he's Robbie now.
Well, yeah.
How's it going, Robbie?
Basis, right? Yeah.
Friend of the podcast.
All right, let's pull up this one.
I'm really starting to like Chase Meadroth, too. Oh. I don't know why, but I feel like he's just I'm going to like him.
Yeah, he's up now. He looks really bizarre, but he's fun to watch. He plays like he cares, which is pretty much all we're looking for these days.
So Riley Green came out of that like an explosion happened. Like
the dust was settling,
and here comes Riley Green from the ashes.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like abnormally dry warning track dirt. I think all teams have to use the same warning track dirt, and it's made of like volcanic ash or something.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, I know it looked super dry.
But yeah. I think he also got some of the chalk from the foul line too. Sure. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah,
I'll ask around. I'll see what I can find out.
Hey, thanks. Do some digging for us.
Yeah,
we'll do some digging.
Yeah, that was just a good game for the Tigers. Jack Flaherty was great for us, which is good because his fastball has been kind of rough lately, but he looked good. He went. I think he was scoreless. Yeah, he was scoreless through 7 or 6 or whatever it was. Again, I couldn't really watch, so some of my stuff it's kind of overshadowed by the home runs and all that. It's just a good game for the Tigers.
I will say the Kerry Carpenter bat drop, I'm not huge on. I think he needs a better signature, no doubter animation.
He does the same thing every time, so it's very routine. He just kind of
does the same thing every time, and it's a little like it's not cocky or humble enough. It's kind of in like an awkward middle ground. He either needs to stand and watch it a little more, or he needs to just like be Pedroia about it and like sprint, but it's like a little in between for my tastes.
What
That's
if he
nitpicky.
what if he takes the bat and like hits home plate like it's a hammer because
Yeah, I mean
he's a carpenter? Do you get it?
that would be cool. That would be cool. Anything
Yeah.
that's unique, I'm a fan of.
There you go. Yeah, it's a good game for us. Dylan Smith made his major league debut. He hit a guy and then got the next 3 out on like 7 pitches or something. It's pretty funny. But it's kind of interesting if you look at the top velocity. He has the top velocity because he throws like 96 out of the bullpen.
What is the deal with this Gibson Long guy again?
Yeah, so he was pulled up at the end of 23 in September. He made 4 starts. He looked really good for a rookie making his first debuting, right? But then he had to get Tommy John and hip surgery, so he's been out for a really long time. And he's been doing rehab in Toledo and he's looked great. So,
he has a good body.
What does that mean?
It's just muscular, well built, tall. I'm assuming he's tall. It looks like it on TV, so he's probably even taller in real life. Big
We're not
porn
selling,
stash
we're not
mullet.
selling jeans here.
For those who aren't familiar yet, he's got a kind of a mullet going, stash. Pretty handsome cat, I'll be honest.
I'm excited for him. It's been a really long time since we saw him. And he made 4 starts, 5 innings each, I think, and then immediately got injured, which was like kind of just the epitome of how our season was going that year. But yeah, he's got really good potential for us. I'm really excited about him. Yeah, then game 2 was kind of a disaster. We were doing a bullpen day because we got so many starting pitchers out, and we pushed Scooble back to start against the Cubs instead of against the White Sox. So, I mean, kind of comedic. Hannafy misplayed a double play ball and then walked in a run, but Brant Herter was credited with the loss because he got that one base runner that scored. So he got the loss, but he didn't really do anything. It was all Hannafy. And then Holton deflected a ball, and so Sweeney couldn't make the play and then gave up a 3-run home run. So I was like, yeah, I don't think this game is really going our way. Shane Smith is just a good pitcher. I mean, we all make the White Sox, but like he's just a legitimately good pitcher. So we couldn't really get anything against him, but then we couldn't get anything against their bullpen either. So yeah, our bullpen kind of. Yeah, that's the more worrisome part. We couldn't get anything against their bullpen, but we scored a lot today. So far so I'm hoping that was just a fluke in terms of not being able to score. I mean, every team's going to have that. Right. But, I mean, credit to the White Sox for taking advantage of Tigers' mistakes. Tigers, what are you doing? You're just going to go score 13 and then do nothing? Come
on. Yeah, I think we'll see. Hopefully, I'm really hoping for a Chicago comeback, which I never thought I would ever say in my life. But Detroit could really use some losses. We've been saying that for a month. One day it'll happen.
A lot of ball left, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Well, we have a winning record for collectively 4 months, and you're like, all right, that's enough.
Number 66. You don't see a lot of guys take that. There's some satanic kind of associations with that.
Sure.
Do we know about this guy's character?
I honestly don't know that much about him because he kind of just. I mean, he was off the radar for like a year and a half. So.
Does he have a pentagram in his locker?
I have not heard such a thing.
But you haven't not heard either.
That's true. I haven't not heard that.
Well, you heard it here first, folks, on the ALC Rundown podcast.
Detroit Tigers.
Gibson Long, whatever his first name is.
Well, we didn't draft him. The Twins drafted him originally. And
then we traded him because they knew he was a Satanist.
You got Michael Fulmer in return, so...
Hey, he was good for like 6 weeks. That was a good trade, actually. I was fine with it.
Yeah, Fulmer was good, and then he wasn't.
It was fine. It was a middle reliever rental. It was fine.
Yeah, so hoping Gibson Long can turn into something really good for us. Like I said, I don't know if he's going to be a starter for us or if he's going to be added to the bullpen chaos for us. Mm-hmm. So kind of see, but he came up as a starter. So hopefully he's going to be a starter because we kind of need more of that. Because as much as I love our bullpen chaos, our bullpen has been, we need another guy in there.
Yeah.
And I would prefer a starting pitcher over a bullpen guy from Sawyer.
I hope he starts because I want to see Sawyer Gibson Long face Simeon Woods Richardson.
Yes, that would be fun.
Long names. There was even like there was a while there the Twins had so many long names. It was Sawyer Gibson, Simeon Wood Richardson, and then does anyone for the Reds, Encarnacion Strand.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm waiting for someone to do the complete circle like we've all been asking for a decade.
Wait, how many letters is Encarnacion Strand? Is that the longest name ever?
I think Woods Richardson takes it by like 1, but you might want to fact check me on that. But like it's like 18 and 19.
Encarnacion Strand is 18. And then let me look at Woods Richardson.
I'll say Richardson is what really gets all of that. But
I think Salt for non-hyphens, I think Saltalamacchia is still the go, right?
Yep. Twins had a few of those in the 2000s.
It looks like Woods Richardson is shorter. It also depends if you count the space or the hyphen.
The hyphen.
Yeah.
Either way.
Oh, I remember Saltalamacchia. He was fun. Just to say,
he was a decent catcher. In a 10-year career. So just moving on, we Dan ran into an old friend over the week. Tell us about Carlos Rodon, and then we got to go down memory lane.
Yeah, so our topic for today is inspired by Carlos Rodon, friend of the AL Central, pitcher of the White Sox for quite a few years. Just headcanon, and not just me, but reading it online, even with the broadcasts, there's been this premise out there that Rodon just owns Cleveland, to the point that, I mean, the thing that really sticks out is the no-hitter he threw in 2021 against the Guards.
So close to a perfect game.
The lone base runner, I forget who the batter was, or maybe you remember, but the pitch.
It was the catcher, Perez.
Roberto Perez, thank you. The pitch skimmed the shoelace of Roberto Perez in the 9th inning, and that was the lone base runner in the ball game for the Indians.
21 had a bunch of no hitters. That was a weird year.
That was the year of the no hitter. That was the whole sticky stuff, crackdown, all that stuff. This was all part of that. But yeah, that was kind of the seminal moment in the Carlos Rodon domination of Cleveland. But like I said, it was a perception thing. It was entirely, I had never seen any data to back it, but it turns out that thanks to some crack research by Eric, turns out that Carlos Rodon is legitimately the most dominant pitcher against Cleveland, at least this millennium. 2.59 ERA again, not ERA against, 2.59 ERA is best of anybody, period. And so it's not just a perception, it's reality, is that Rodon, a pretty good pitcher. I mean, not necessarily a Cy Young Award winner, that level, but solid 2, I would say.
Didn't he win a Cy Young with San Francisco though?
Did he? You might have to edit that.
Maybe fact check me.
No,
he wasn't. He was in top 3.
He had a good year. He didn't win the Cy Young with them though.
Yeah, no Cy Young.
What was the votes count? Do you have his page up?
So he got 5th in Cy Young in 21, and then 6th in Cy Young in 22 with the Giants.
Okay, maybe he wasn't that close.
Okay, so he's a little bit better than I'm representing, where he could be somebody's ace, but not necessarily a guy I think of as kind of that top tier shut him down type of pitcher, and he's been superb against Cleveland in his career. So it's not just people's perception or remembering that no hitter; it's the real deal. But that got me to thinking, and I was curious of some hitters as well over the course of time that have been strong against Cleveland. And I want to play a quick game here where name which of these ball players sticks out, basically, is what I'm going for. And this is stats from 2010 to 2025. All of the following have a 1. OPS against Cleveland in that 15-year span. Adrian Beltre, Robinson Cano, Rafael Devers, Curtis Granderson, Kyle Schwarber, Wilson Betemit, Shohei Ohtani.
I mean, Shohei's Asian. Is that what
Yeah, he's
is that what
Japanese.
you're
That's
going for?
easy.
Is that?
Yeah, spot the difference. Come on, he's a pitcher. I mean,
Yeah, it's true. It's pitcher.
There you
Like, is
go.
that?
So
No, I'm guessing you meant Wilson Betemit.
3 Hall of Famers, a really good ball player in Granderson, Schwarber, one of the best power hitters of our time. Otani's 4 future Hall of Famers, and then Wilson Betemit, who slashed 310, 414, 589 in his career against Cleveland, a 167 WRC plus from a switch hitting journeyman infielder. Had an 11-year career, but 2.8 career WAR, and somehow, some way, just dominated Cleveland. And I don't know how to explain it. I'll be honest, I don't even necessarily remember it. This was a bit of a surprise to me, but the numbers don't lie. He was excellent against Cleveland. You can see some other names on the board here. I did stats through 2010 to 2025, like I said, but some other interesting names that kind of came up in the course of the research Eric did. D'Angelo Jimenez. I'm assuming, Oren, you remember D'Angelo Jimenez. I vaguely remember him.
I do.
Yeah.
Is a pretty light hitting second baseman, top of the order guy back when that had a certain connotation it doesn't have now.
I used to think he was like an all. I used to think he was such a star. I didn't know anything about baseball. I was like 5.
Because his first name was D'Angelo, and that's awesome. And that's
Yeah, I was like, a name like that. This guy's got to be like one of the best, right?
I do like the name.
Beyond
Of this,
that-
like, who is Jose Cruz? Does anyone remember Jose Cruz?
I have no
Oh,
idea who that
no.
is.
Completely
I'm
blank.
thinking about Jose Cruz Jr., but he played for like Toronto in 1998, so I don't know if that's the same guy or not. I don't
Wow,
know.
there-
That could be the same guy.
0 socks on that list, so that's fun.
I mean, beyond that, a bunch of names you would expect: Manny Ramirez, Jason Giambi, but some interesting ones. Milton Bradley, who had been a member of the Indians, really good ball player who just mentally had some demons off the field and on the field outside of actually playing baseball. But a bunch of other guys. Jack Cust is on there. Sabermetric
Careful
darling
how you
early
say
on.
that.
Sabermetrics. Oh, I got
Milton
it.
Milton Bradley, though, is part of one of my favorite Twins highlights of all time. When he forgot how many outs there were, he was on the Cubs at the time. Joe Mauer hit a fly ball to him. He threw it into the stands, and the runner from second just scored because he thought it was 3 outs.
Nice. I don't remember that, but that's awesome.
Oh, you should look it up after this. It's a great highlight.
No, the rest of these names seem to make sense. There's a couple that are kind of weird, like Luke Scott. I don't remember at all.
I believe he was an outfielder for Baltimore. And
I remember Luke Scott. He was
Oh,
on
I think
the
you're
Rays
right.
and the Orioles. He was like a real Southern type guy.
Okay, I think now it's vaguely ringing a bell. I couldn't picture him, but I think I remember the jersey. But I think you're right.
Yeah.
And then,
the one thing that
let's go
really
back
hurt. The only thing that really hurt on that list was seeing some of the former Clevelanders, Ramirez and Bradley. Beyond that, it's pretty.
Cleveland great Jason Giambi. You can't forget about
Also
his.
true.
He had a good year at
Yes.
DH.
I mean, he hit one of the most impactful home runs of, I believe it was the 2013 playoff run for the Indians at the time. So a little bit of a contribution there, absolutely. Most importantly, it's a great day to beat the Yankees. Guards win 4-0. It's a great day to shut out
Nice.
the Yankees, actually. So
nice.
I'm still in a good mood for what it matters.
We'll move on to Chicago. Oren, before I pull up this list, is there anyone mentally you can think of that destroyed them?
Well, and my mind goes to obviously Jose Ramirez.
Yeah.
Miguel Cabrera, it seems like I've watched him get 3,000 hits against us alone. Jacques Jones just jumps to mind. I feel like I think just because of his name, I remember him more than some of his contemporaries. But those Twins Sox era, that was such a fun time for that rivalry, and it felt like everyone on those teams, going through Michael Kadire and Kubel. What was his name? Jason Kubel.
Jason Kubel, Corey. I mean, he was later. You had Corey Koski. You had the Piranhas.
Yeah.
Doug Minkiewicz.
Doug Minkiewicz.
Yeah, and then
who replaced David Ortiz twice, technically. The Twins played him over Ortiz, and then the Red Sox traded for Minkiewicz the year they won the title, and then Ortiz became a legend.
I don't think he might not have enough of a sample size for the list, or he might just not make the cut. But Josh Naylor, that's probably recency bias, but it feels like he destroyed the White Sox.
If you look up the stats against him, let's see.
If you did it 7th inning or later, I bet he's at the top of the list.
I looked at the Twins. I'll spoil it. I looked for the Nailers just because I wanted to see. Like his overall numbers, Josh Naylor against the Twins is not. It's like 800, like not spectacular. But yes, all of that 800 is in the 8th inning or later. I feel.
Yeah, so Josh Naylor versus the White Sox, this is from StatMuse, 342 batting average, 8 home runs, 64 hits, 34 RBIs in 50 games.
You know what's weird? So I'm going to pull up the list now. Oren, you were 0 for 5.
And I saw this before we started, so.
I love that Marco Scudero was on it. You're the only reason I think he had a positive.
I don't remember any of that. He must have just hit a ton of singles against us.
Right. I mean, for 7 years, too. Like, that wasn't just all that small. I like Jermaine Dye's on it. I can't remember. If he was with the White Sox forever. What was his other team? Was it Oakland?
Oakland and Kansas City, yeah.
There you go. I love that it's Jim Thome.
Mike Cameron did a lot of this all in one game. There was one. He had a 4 home run game against the White Sox.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Wilson Contreras, yeah, Thome was good for us. Mikey Matuk.
Yep. Tiger, great.
Michael Massey. That's kind of
I wonder if Sam would have picked out that Michael Massey is really good against the White Sox.
Okay, well, there's only one name on this list I don't recognize, and that's Bobby Higginson.
Number 20.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember Bobby Higginson.
Who was he on?
Was it Kansas City?
The Tigers. He's on the Tigers for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, in the 90s.
Yeah, I don't remember him because he played until 2005, which is when I was 4. So, yeah. No, he was on the Tigers for 10 years. He was decent. I'm looking at it. 272 career batting average. OPS plus 113 over his career. So he was a pretty good player.
I mean, if you're going to get lit up by teams or by players, Aaron Judge, Ohtani, Manny Ramirez, Palmeiro, Aramis Ramirez, that's a pretty good 1 through 5. If you're going to get beat, at least you're getting beat by those 5.
Yeah, but 1.4 OPS, that's insane.
Yeah,
I mean, I know it's Aaron Judge, but that's still insane.
What is Jose Ramirez against us?
Who's the Jose Ramirez?
I think so. And then some guys suffer from too much sample size. Like
probably
the OPS, the lowest OPS there was like 9 something. Jose Ramirez is, like you said, probably in the high 8s, but he's played so many games against us by now that the guys who have like a 1.4, like Judge, Ohtani, they haven't played a ton of games against the White Sox, 32, 38.
Right.
Okay, so Jose Ramirez in 168 games is batting 261 with 34 home runs, 102 RBIs.
What slugging?
I don't have the stat for that because StatMuse didn't give it to me.
Sure.
261. Yeah, he slugs a lot against them. A lot of those hits are homers.
If I didn't say, this is for 100 plate appearances too, so it is it's still small, but at least like.
I bet if you upped that, it would get a lot more. Like Jose Ramirez and.
Yeah. I think if I put it to 200, like maybe like a season's worth of plate appearances, Ramirez would be on every one of the Central's list.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of these don't have a lot of Central guys because as we play each other so much, the numbers even out.
Yeah.
Them pitching versus Chicago, this is not I mean, Justin Masterson had a good 3 years.
He was with Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Side armor.
He went somewhere after us, and I'll be honest, I don't remember where. But yeah, Masterson was our ace at one point during the Maniacta era. So
Kyle Loesch is
that didn't last very long.
It's so sad looking at
Kyle
this
Loesch
list.
was sneaky good. Like he was Kyle Gibson to me is the real, and Bruce Chen to me would be the insulting names.
Other than that, it's a lot of guys who were good for a while.
Yeah.
It's really sad looking at all these, and I know all these guys from the 2014 rotation are going to be on there for me. Rick Porcello, Scherzer, Verlander.
Oh yeah,
And not for nothing,
David
you get to
Price.
Kyle Loesch, he had a 4.10 ERA. It's not like it was that stellar
and
either.
Fister was on the first one we looked at against Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
he's
this
had a good
100
couple.
innings?
He was what, the fifth starter during those monster years?
Kluber at 3 too. One of the best games I've ever been to live, which is kind of surprising because, like many of us, I'd imagine if you go live, you kind of want to see an offense game. You'd rather see like 10-9 rather than like 2-1. But if it's such a good pitcher's game, then it kind of wraps back around to being exciting again. And I don't remember exactly what game it was, but it was Chris Sale versus Corey Kluber. They both went
Nice.
like one of them went 8, the other went 9 innings. Both went 0 runs, and I think Cleveland won like 1-0, or the White Sox won 1-0 in 10. But either way, the whole spectacle of the game was just like both of them were absolute dogs, like all night long. It was really fun. Good times.
All right. Lee, I know you've already looked at these lists and cheated a little bit, but name off the top of the dome, who kills you?
The guys that come to mind immediately are Nelson Cruz, Jose Ramirez, and Tim Anderson. Tim Anderson always killed us, even though he's not been as good, but he still really did really well against us. Jose Ramirez, I think I mentioned this last week when you were talking about the series, but I saw, I think it was Chris Castellani tweeted out, like, if we had decided in 2016 to just walk Jose Ramirez every at bat, I think he would have done less damage against us. That kind of thing. And Nelson Cruz, I mean, he was insane because he hit a home run like every other day against us, it seemed. When he was traded to Tampa, I celebrated because I was like, we all did, because we're like, thank God he's out of our division. I mean, the way the schedule worked out that year, we still had to play him 6 times anyway, but like, it was still, we don't have to face him anymore. It was really, it was insane.
When they traded Nelson Cruz, you wouldn't have mind facing him. He had like a 650 OPS against Tampa that year. But
he still destroyed us though, because
they were both kind of old, but him and Donaldson both in that lineup, they were just so that the aura that they both had and like the power pedigree, it was just insane.
I'm gonna pull up.
I think that's why they definitely taught everyone on that 2019 team, like, guys, this is how you hit bombs.
This is one of the COVID season absolutely hosed the Twins. I'm going to pull this up because I just want to show people the lineup of the 2020 Twins, at least on paper, because it was a monster lineup and I don't think anyone quite realizes it. So let me show this here quick. So Ryan Jeffers, Sano when he was still good, Polanco, Donaldson, Buxton in his prime, Kepler was coming off a 30 home run season, Nelson Cruz, Luis Ariz, Garver was great. They had Brent Rooker, which he was terrible for them, but like they had such a deep lineup, and then Andrelton Simmons at the very tail end of his career. But they just look at the pictures of he was 2019 starting shortstop for Polanco. Buxton is Buxton. Luis Ariz is the best hitter of this generation. They just signed Josh Donaldson. Nelson Cruz was great. Mitch Garver was an above average hitting catcher. They had no pitching, so let's ignore that. But yeah, just filthy. It makes me sad. COVID happened.
2020 is the year I started watching baseball again. Did you guys make the playoffs that year?
Yes, but they got swept out by the Astros. The last year with Carlos Correa. The fuckers. I didn't say
those playoffs were so weird. There were multiple teams that got it and they were under 500, right?
The Astros were one of them.
Playoffs. Yeah.
Sox got in and lost to the A's in a 3-game series. It was very anticlimactic. I think every team feels like they got particularly screwed that year. I feel the same way. That was supposed to be, like there was Luis Robert and Andrew Vaughn's rookie year. That was supposed to be a big development year for them. That was, the healthy part of like the Keuchel and Grandal contracts. And that was, because 20 and 21 were the 2 years that we actually made the playoffs. And it just still felt like they didn't win the division. They got in as a wild card team, and it was just such a disappointing season. And also, the fact I was so looking forward to the Astros getting booed because their scandal was the big story before COVID happened.
Yep.
And and they were going to start at like Los Angeles or whatever on.
Yeah, that's right.
Opening day. and it was going to be like a bloodbath. Like there
Yep.
was like they were warning fans about violence and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden, just no fan season. And
It
by
was
the time,
they still kind of fought it out. It was pretty funny. Joe Kelly with
yeah,
With
there
the
were
blue
some good
face.
moments, but by the time they got fans in the stands and it was 2021, people were just happy to be back. And yeah, they got booed. Of course, they still do. You know.
It's like Carlos Correa still gets booed heavily
Yeah,
every Riveting
that's
game.
going to last for as long
Altuve
as
does
play.
Like the
too.
rest of his career.
Bregman.
Yeah.
I mean, in 21 there were a few inflatable trash cans that made its way onto the field.
Yeah.
I think at Oakland or somewhere in California, I remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
2020, when Tigers sucked. The only good thing that came out of 2020 is that 30 minutes after the World Series ended, Al Avila called AJ Hinch and started working on hiring him. I give Al Avila credit for 3 things: 1, drafting; 2, trading for Reese Olson; and 3, hiring AJ Hinch, because that was kind of risky.
Does anyone else
The only
in
thing
2020?
You don't give him
the last-
credit for producing his son.
True. Alex is a real person.
That's fair. 4 things. Alex Avila, because he's my favorite all-time player, so I'll give him credit for that too.
The 2020, like the last weekend of the 2020 season, like Cleveland, Minnesota, and Chicago were like in a virtual tie. And it was like, who's going to get the first wild card? It was just like who you're all going to play. And because like the wonkiness of it, like it was, I think the Twins won the division, but like it didn't seem like
All it did was it made you really mad that we didn't get 162 games, because it was like it would have been really fun division that year.
Yes. Oh, I'm so mad. But anyway, because like I
The thing
legitimately feel
The only thing I really have to complain about that year is I think over 162, that was probably Jose's best opportunity to win an MVP. Yeah. And somebody else in the division won it, and he had a great couple of months, but I think that would have time.
And it's
that
like
that would have been his one chance.
Abreu would never win an MVP in a full season. It just like that even goes to show. It's a little bittersweet, because it's like it just goes to show how fluky of a season it was overall. And if he didn't win it, it would have been Luke Voigt.
Yeah, Willie Castro was a Rookie of the Year finalist, I think.
Wow.
No, and then next year he was not good. It was just a 50-game hot streak or whatever.
Yeah,
because we've played about 60 games now, right? I mean, imagine Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani are probably going to win that MVP, but that would be like going into the season. But imagine trying to crown the Cy Young or AL Rookie of the Year right now.
Right.
Like, it's going to look totally different.
Ramirez did finish second in MVP voting that year, and he carried that offense. I think that was his shot, and not to happen, unfortunately.
I mean, I feel like they got swept out in the first series like they always did, because I was in the middle of the streak, but I legitimately feel the Twins were a World Series contender, and I have not been able to say that since like 2006. So I was very, very sad when COVID happened, because they really could have used the full season. They had depth, they had whatever. I'm fine. Not over it.
Would it have changed the playoff results, though? I mean, I'm just saying.
They still got swept out. That's what I said, Lee. But yes, they were in the middle of it. But they would have played, instead of a 3-game series, it was 5. I'm very bitter about this.
And of course, all of the deaths were very sad too.
Well, why do we got to bring that up?
Why you got to bring the mood down?
That goes without saying.
About the baseball part.
I mean, there were a bunch of really fun shenanigans that came out of the season, though. I mean, Zach Greinke going into the stadium to sit amongst the cardboard cutouts. That was
funny.
That was great. I love all the cardboard cutout stuff. Those were.
Anyway, we took a long lead. We still need to go over Detroit. So here's the list of Detroit. The names you would expect plus Luke Scott.
Yeah, pretty.
There's a
lot of.
I love that he's in between. I can't even remember who Luke Scott is, but between...
We talked about friends of the AL Central. It is turning out that Luke Scott might be an enemy of the AL Central.
Yeah, wow. The Sox should have signed this guy.
He played for Houston, Baltimore, and the Rays. So.
I also love that Matt LeCroy is on this list. He was a very large gentleman who pretended to play catcher sometimes. And he somehow made the list. He played 7 years in the majors and had a 976 OPS against the Tigers. I also got to kick Matt Davidson. Did nothing in the majors except for Detroit.
He had a 3 home run game against Kansas City, and he pitched well.
Yeah,
Did
one
he
one
convert?
fun trend on a lot of these. There's a lot of players who played in Oakland for a while or a little bit, which is and then it reminded me why I dislike the A's when I was a kid, because they were kind of a rival for us because they always played really well against us in the regular season. We beat them in the postseason, but regular season they beat us a lot.
Up until like what 5 years ago, Oakland was perennially good. Like they were
Yeah.
the Rays of last generation, but
Yeah.
Yeah, but on this list, you got Matt Chapman. There's Brent Rooker. There's a few other guys who were on the A's for like a year or two. Just they were always really good against us regular season.
it's the first time I've seen Mark Burley. I guess we've only done Cleveland and then White Sox. So like Mark Burley was always like a pain in the twin side. Rest of the
Zach
names,
Greinke on this list is not a surprise. For some reason, of the past this year and last year a bit, I would say the biggest threat for pitchers against the Tigers for some reason is guys in their mid to late 30s who throw 92. We cannot hit them, or just soft throwing older guys who don't throw anything above the low 90s, and we just cannot hit them. It's very frustrating to watch because why can't we hit this guy?
Gavin Floyd was pretty high up there on the Tigers' pitching against list.
Yeah, Carlos
like
Carrasco is a bit. We beat him up real bad this year, but I guess he was really good against us.
well, okay, Carlos Carrasco. I don't know if, he's. I'm surprised the Yankees called. Was it against the Tigers, that Yankees game, or no?
Which
Carlos Carrasco.
we
Did I play him this year?
homered off him a bunch this year. This game, it's like three. It was like 3 homers in 1 inning, and then I think he got pulled after that.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of these guys are in the division. You got Corey Kluber, Yohan Santana, Trevor Bauer, of course, Jose Quintana.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna sorry to cut you off, Lee, but I wanted to go back to the White Sox pitching one because I do think it is really funny that where is he pitching against Chicago? That James Shields is one of the better pitchers against the White Sox. So when he was facing them, they were really good, and then he is the most lopsided trade of maybe the last 15 years. Just kind of thought it was kind of funny.
Painful.
He just can't.
What was the pitching sample size you used?
125 innings.
Why? It's surprising that the bottom of the list is that high. Like you guys have there's guys with 4 and 5 ERAs on there.
Yeah. And you do have a couple like Brad Rat that was steroid era. I'm guessing coming off of the steroid era. Like there's some of that goofiness, but
120 might be too big of a sample size. Because I feel like you get stuff that evens out. You get guys that are in the division that play them a whole bunch, but that includes their rookie years when they saw.
I did 150, and I don't think Kansas City had more than 3 names on it, so that's when I upped it to.
What if you did 50?
Then it got you had a bunch of relievers. It got really cloudy.
Yeah,
we could have done it. Which one?
Clace would be on all of them.
Yeah, you're not wrong. He probably would be. But that would be
pitcher,
what 6. Less than 10 starts for a starter.
How many starts is 125 is 15 starts?
I mean, now it's 3/4 of a season.
Yeah.
Now, but
it's interesting.
One pitcher that always did really against us, I remember specifically for some reason, Lance Lynn. He was always, I feel like against the Tigers, he was always really good. I love Lance Lynn, though. He's great. He's fantastic. I love watching him.
Yeah, a lot of personality.
Sad that he retired. Yeah.
I
like pitchers that have a lot of personality because it makes it more fun to watch when they're doing really good.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just move on to
Kansas. He just better not end up on Team USA again next year. That's all. Don't need that.
Is he officially retired yet, or is he still a free agent?
He's retired. He officially.
So I'll move on to Kansas City hitting. I know Sam isn't here, but the Johnny Gomes, I feel like I remember this. Red Sox. Ty France, they just brought that up, so I thought that was funny. Matt Davidson makes another appearance. I feel like they have the most random list out of
This
everyone.
is such a random list. Of
Yes.
Yeah.
Randall Simon, Herbert Perry.
They have a good spread
Herbert
of like
Perry.
right.
Rod Barajas, I remember him.
Yep. Aaron
Both
Judge is still on
Valentine,
it.
my
and then-
all-time favorite players.
I forget that Shohei actually like debuted in 2018. I feel like he is such a recent phenomenon, but he's been in the league for.
He didn't
He's
really
played
have
on
a
the
good
Angels,
pitching
though.
and hitting season together and for like 3 or 4 years.
That's fair.
Jose Valentine, that's a fun one.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. One of my earliest baseball memories was seeing him hit a home run from both sides of the plate because he was a switch hitter,
Mhm.
and in the same game. And at the time, I thought that was like the craziest thing ever. In retrospect, it's like that happens a decent amount, but like still cool.
The only reason I remember Randall Simon is that
Oh,
he hit the wiener
Mascot.
with the bat, yeah, during the wiener race. Like
Was that? I feel like that was someone else.
No, that was him.
That was that Ruben Sierra.
I think it was Randall Simon. I
I'm pretty
think.
sure it was.
You guys are probably right.
If it's not, it's a fun
Either-
memory.
We're either having a Mandela effect moment right now, or it was definitely Randall Simon.
Wait, now I just geeked myself out. Who was Ruben Sierra?
Right fielder for the Rangers for a while, I think. Maybe bounced around for a bit. That's
Did
how
he
I
play in
remember
that
it.
Good
same
power
era?
hitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pitching against Kansas City, they have a pretty solid list here. I don't know. Chris Sale, John Danks, who shows up on these lists too often. Scherzer, Verlander, Kluber, Giolito. All those make sense. There's really not one. Jeremy Bonderman had like 2 good years. He had a 10-year career. How the hell did Jeremy Bonderman make it 10 years in the majors?
He was mostly on the Tigers, right?
Yes. Well, I guess that's right. That's when they were really bad, and it was Jeremy Bonderman and like absolutely no one else. So maybe that.
Yeah,
that
he
my
was
God.
on the team from 03 to 10. That's kind of when we.
The name.
He
Good
was
to see
on
my
the
guy.
World Series roster.
Good to see my guy Mike Maroth make an appearance there. Love Mike Maroth.
Sox coming back, by the way. It's 4-2. It's only the 3rd inning.
Yes. Let it happen.
No.
No. We'll touch on the Twins. The names like Naylor didn't have that great of an OPS against. Jose Bautista, I remember just if anyone remember when Target Field opened, they thought it was a hitter-friendly park, and then Jose Bautista just shredded that it's away. It seems like in like 5 games. He's not the best, but Josh Donaldson, glad they signed him for those 2 years. Has the best OPS. Aaron Judge, Delgado's, Ellis Burks, who I think was with the A's,
He was with the
second
Indians
baseman.
at that point in time, I believe.
What does it mean from 2001 to 2002? He did all that damage in 2 seasons.
Yeah, well, yeah, in 153 plate appearances.
How do you hit that many times against one team in 2 years?
Cleveland. Well, they played 18 times a
It's
year.
35 games.
Oh
so
yeah, I
it's
guess
not
back
that
then
much.
played each other more. Yeah.
I don't remember Matt Olson being all that good against them. He's still playing. Jim Thome torched him. Of course, it's David Ortiz because every Twins fun fact in the mid-2000s was they let go of David Ortiz. And then, yeah, Correa has had a good Mike. And then Mark Quinn, I think, is the most random name on here. I don't think I even remember him.
I like Yoenis Cespedes on there. Just kind of.
He was fun.
Yeah, he was good for that.
Didi Gregorius is a name that I was surprised didn't show up for Cleveland.
And especially in the
he kinda
playoffs,
surprised me.
he broke their back so many
Yeah.
times, it felt like.
Did
And
he
then,
come up with the Diamondbacks?
Yes. Then was he traded to where was he somewhere before the Yankees? Was it Diamondbacks and then to the Yankees, or was there a stop between? I want to say Seattle.
I think
but
it
feel
was-
that's wrong.
I think he was straight to the Yankees, but I could be wrong.
Was it?
And then straight from Yankees to Phillies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, because I think the Twins were talking to him to sign him, and then I think that's the year signed with the Phillies. That sounds right. But as far as
Yes.
random names,
So, yeah, that Didi trade was actually the trade. Also, that was a 3-team trade. The Indians at the time got Trevor Bauer, Brian Shaw out of that deal.
Mhm.
So It sounded familiar. I couldn't piece it together. That's what it was.
I hate to be a hipster about hating Trevor Bauer, but I remember in his Diamondbacks days, he had that people didn't know anything about him, but he had like a rap either song or album. And I hated him ever since. And so every negative thing about him that came out afterwards, I was just like, yep, just
This fits.
what I thought, you know.
If it's not Eminem, you can't rap.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing in Japan now, and he's not really good. So
Not even.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if he didn't have a social media platform, he would have been forgotten about 5 years ago.
He's a YouTuber now, basically, is what he is.
Yeah, I saw there was great because I saw something like, oh, funny how he says only 5 batters can beat him, but they all seem to always be on the other team.
It's true.
It's also funny how like Garrett Cole openly talks about how much he hated him at UCLA. He's like, yeah, I hated him. Everyone hated him.
That's funny.
Pretty safe to do. Pitching for Minnesota. Felix Hernandez, I was happy like that. That seemed to track. I remember him being really dominant. John Lackey for the Red Sox. Danny Duffy, I don't remember playing that long. Pretty solid. Paul Bird, that makes me sad because I don't even remember who Paul Bird is. But the rest you're going. I thought Giolito did better. I wasn't surprised to see him on the list, but a 4.25 ERA. I don't know if he just had one horrible start. And then Trevor Bauer makes the list, but Max Kepler single-handedly added an earned run to that by himself. So
Kepler
that's
Bauer. And as far as Paul Bird, he appeared on Detroit's list too. He pitched for Cleveland. He exactly exemplified Lee's perception of right-handed pitcher that didn't throw hard, and it was in his mid to late 30s. That was exactly what he was. He was very much a pitch-to-contact guy. Didn't walk anybody, but didn't strike anybody out, and just would get 3 outs before he gave up enough hits to get out of the inning without allowing anybody to score. So that was very much what Paul Bird was. He was like the other guy in the rotation when the Guardians had like Cliff Lee, CC Sabathia, etc. So
I keep forgetting Cleveland had Cliff Lee.
Mm-hmm.
They had him for a while too. Like it was a couple years. Wasn't it?
He initially wasn't very good for them too. He wasn't on the 2007 playoff roster.
Oh, yikes!
Yeah.
We'll move on to the schedule and then predictions. Unless you guys will have any more guys you would like to feign or like wish terrible things if they killed your team.
I think at some point in the future we need to do the opposite and see who's like really bad against us. But I'm good.
Sure. All right. We'll move on to the schedule. Detroit playing the White Sox right now, hopefully coming down with a collapse. They play them tomorrow, then stay in Chicago. Nope, no, they don't. They go to Detroit to play the Cubs. Orioles, and then Cincinnati. Twins finish up with the A's, Blue Jays, Texas, and then the Astros. Guardians finish up with the Yankees tomorrow. Astros, Reds, Mariners, Royals. Finish up with a doubleheader tomorrow in St. Louis. Did everyone have a 4-game series this week? That's interesting.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Then they play the White Sox tomorrow, or starting Friday, the Yankees, and then the Athletics. The White Sox, Detroit, KC, Astros, and then looks like the entire division is going out west for when they're not playing the Central this week. So yeah. No real, I guess like it's kind of a blah streak. I don't know. Like it's all these series are kind of blending together for me. So, yeah. So now I guess we can move on to predictions. Let me just pull that up. You'd think I would have had this pulled up already.
Starting to get to the point of the season where it's not starting off, it's just kind of getting through it, and then you get through all-star stuff in like a month, and then playoff stuff 2 months after that, so it's gonna be a little.
I'm excited for the trade deadline part of this year.
Oh yeah, trade deadline is gonna be interesting.
I don't think the Twins will do anything. Not to put a wet blanket on that, but they haven't done anything last 2 trade deadlines with the ownership, but whatever.
Tigers online fandom is getting very worked up about it already because it's the first time in like a decade that we're like definitely going to buy at the deadline.
You're getting the good player back. Like,
Exactly.
Oh,
So-
so
in the past, go ahead, Oren.
that's what I was thinking. Are the Tigers going to be looking for a third baseman?
I think that's the big one. The third baseman / just another infield guy. Like a lot of people have thrown around Bo Bichette. I don't know how much that would. Yeah,
that'd be fun.
yeah, and then also we need a strikeout guy in the bullpen. So
I mean, bullpen arms. Those are if you need a bullpen arm, if your biggest need is bullpen going into the trade deadline, that's a pretty good problem to have.
yeah, it's not our biggest need, but it's a fairly big need.
You could put together a package for Ramirez and Clase. Class A.
There you go.
No. The one thing that could happen, the Guardians have this habit of, if they have a player that's coming off of the IL mid-season, they'll make the statement. I don't even know that they make the statement outward, but the perception is, oh, well, adding that guy back to the roster is like making a trade. So like Bieber, like, oh, we just traded for an ace. Like, not necessarily.
No.
Let's make sure he can actually be effective before we start saying things like that. Like I said, I don't know that the organization's ever said that outright, but there's a bit of a perception. They haven't done that the last few years, at least, but it has happened in the past.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Scott Harris will do because, I mean, last year he pulled off really good trades when we sold that people didn't really like at the time. But they worked out really well in hindsight.
All right. So we have one series to predict. It's Kansas City at Chicago. I'm just going to assume Sam is going to pick Kansas City, but Lee, who do you got?
I'm gonna say Chicago for this one.
All right. What's any reasons or just?
Just vibes. I think they have good pitching. I mean, I know the Royals added Caglione, but I don't think he's gonna really. I think we're all overestimating how much of a immediate impact he's going to make on their lineup.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Chicago's going to win some. I mean, I think they're going to do it.
Oren.
I also take Chicago. Just think that Royals can't have nice things, and
Well, they'd have to score more than one freaking run a game to.
I think it's going to be a terribly boring series. That's my main prediction.
That's a very fair prediction.
I mean, I think we've all been watching the division more than we have in previous years because of this, but like I'm getting so frustrated for Sam watching Kansas City. It's just depressing me. It's absolutely nothing and then great pitching. But I'm just gonna assume Sam picks KC. If not, whoops. Dan.
I'm not sure if Shane Smith is pitching in this series or not. In the event that he is, I think he's going to pitch a shutout. However, I think Kansas City will win the other two games, and Kansas City wins the series.
I don't know. I'm starting to like Chicago more. Maybe just because like the no names that I'm starting to be more familiar with, and like I kind of secretly want Chicago to start being good again so that they can collapse later in the year, or like I want that to happen. So I'm gonna pick Chicago. Which
I have not watched nearly as many Kansas City games as you guys, so I'm not as disenchanted with their offense as you guys are. Even though I know it's not very good, I haven't kind of witnessed the agony myself for a while. So
it's rough. It's really rough.
it's not great. Like it's Bobby Witt and who else can just get a double.
And then
Yeah,
their like 40-year-old catcher is like the second best hitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, whoever
He hasn't looked great either. I think his underlying numbers still look decent, but he just does. He's like no power threat right now.
it's just a matter of someone's gonna walk into a hit at some point.
Well, that's kind of how it feels.
Yeah.
At some point, just hang your elbow over the plate. Like get someone to the base because Bobby Witt has the sorest back in the majors right now because it just no supporting cast. But with that said, they're still 3 games over 500, so it's doom and gloom. But it's not like they're terrible.
Had that much. Well. Yeah. I mean, I think they just went on a winning streak, and then they went back to regress to the mean a bit more.
right? So it was. I mean, I'm not one to talk. I just for the first 6 weeks of this show, it was probably the first month of the show that was me complaining about how the Twins' offense is nothing. The same thing that I'm saying about Kansas City. So it's almost like the Twins have been playing much better, obviously, and it feels like Kansas City was like, "Tag, I'll take the no offense trait right now." But does anybody have any thoughts before we head out?
No.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, I think we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.